Part 2, Major and Minor Scales. Remember that scales are very important to the foundation of music. We might think of a scale as a family. There are certain members in the family, and when we apply certain descriptions, we find out if it's in the major family or the minor family. And before I give you the description that defines whether it's either a major scale or a minor scale, I want to say to you that you don't have to really memorize the pattern. You may need to memorize it, and if that works for you, that's great. But I'm going to give you a trick. So I'm giving you the trick first, and then we will explain how to use it. A major scale or a minor scale have letters that are written diatonically. Now, when I say diatonically, an easy way to think of it is that there will be white key letters, one right after the other, in a certain pattern. You have to go through everyone's backyard, is what my teacher would say to me. And then I'm going to say to you that you find the definition for the major scale when you start with the letter C and end on the letter C. So if ever you need to have a description of a major scale, you simply look at the patterns from C to C. So let's say those letters, and we're going to say them diatonically, meaning one right after the other. Let's start with C, and then say all the letters from C and end on C. Ready? Go. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. All right, so if I need to know the pattern for a major scale, I simply use what diatonic pattern? The one that starts on C and ends on C. All right, now let's talk about the trick for the minor scale. The minor scale. We're actually working with the natural minor scale today. And if you need a way to remember it, you simply look at the letters from A to A, and it will give you the definition for your natural minor scale. So let's say those letters together for the minor scale. Ready? Begin. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A. All right. All right. Let's see what those letters look like on the piano keys. I'm going to use this C that appears to be more in the middle. Would you please say those letters with me from C to C? And these are the white keys diatonically. Ready? Go. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. Now remember, that is giving us the pattern for the major scale. So I'll put it over here, major. All right, now let's find letter A How do we do that? We know that the doghouse, the 2 black keys, has D, so that has to be C, D, E. So it's not there. The 3 black keys, my house, which is bigger, there's my front door, there's my back door. That's B, so that's much closer to A. Here's my A. Say those letters from A to A with me. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A. And that gives us the pattern for the natural minor scale. Natural minor scale. Now, what do I mean by the natural minor scale pattern? Or what do I mean when I say the C major scale pattern? Do you remember a few lessons back we talked about half steps and whole steps, or we might have called them semitones and whole tones? That's what I mean by the pattern. So let's discover the pattern. When I go from C to D, is it a whole step or a half step? It's a whole step because I had to skip that 1 black key. That black key's right in the middle. So I'm going to use the W to represent whole. What is from D to E? It has a black key in the middle, so it is another whole. What about E to F? Did it have to skip anything at all? No. So that is a half step. So I'm using H for half. What about F to G? Whole. G to A? Whole. A to B? Whole. And then what about B to C? Did I have to skip anything? No, that is a half. So my pattern for a major scale is always 2 whole steps followed by a half step, 3 whole steps followed by a half step. But you don't even really have to memorize this if you just know what your piano keyboard looks like and you memorize that it is the scale of C. And then you have your pattern. All right, let's look at the natural minor. Help me describe these in whole steps and half steps. What is A to B? Whole. B to C? Half. C to D? Whole. D to E? Whole. E to F? Half. F to G? Whole. And G to A? Whole. And again, you don't really have to memorize whole, half, whole, whole, half, whole, whole. Or you could. You could remember that it is the A minor, which tells you just the white keys, gives you the pattern. Now, I'll tell you how I sometimes say it for memory. Major is 2 1/2, 3 1/2. You see what I'm saying? 2 1/2, 3 1/2. So sometimes I think of it like this. 2 1/2, 3 1/2. Okay? Can you think of a way to say this? You might say whole, half, one of each, whole and half, and then 2.5, and 2. Whatever is easiest for you. But I will say to you that I often just remembered A to A, and then I would just look at the picture of a keyboard to give the answer. And I would do the same thing for the major, from C to C, and then give the answer. Stay tuned for part 3.